One stormy night, when thunder roared and rain pounded against the windows of St. Luke's Hospital, the usual nightly routine was abruptly interrupted by an incredible event. A massive tiger burst into the main hall, its fur glowing like fire under the hospital lights. The sudden appearance of the huge predator caused real panic, and doctors, nurses, and patients scattered in all directions. Nurse Anna, known for her composure and bravery even in the most extreme situations, was one of the few who did not succumb to the general panic. Her eyes widened not with fear, but with admiration as she watched the majestic animal, which, contrary to its wild nature, seemed to be searching for something or someone. The tiger looked more confused and in search of refuge than aggressive. With surprise, Anna noticed that in its powerful jaws was a small cub. The soaking wet cub had stripes on its body but did not look like an ordinary tiger cub. However, this was not the main problem at the moment, as urgent action was needed. Driven by a desire to help, Anna cautiously approached the tiger despite the enormous risk. Meanwhile, Carlos, the head of hospital security, was already calling the police to report the emergency. Left alone in the corridor with the animals, Anna noticed that the tiger, despite its impressive appearance, was emaciated and severely exhausted, its ribs clearly visible under its wet fur. Deciding to act on her own, Anna led the tiger and the mysterious cub into a small room where medical instruments and supplies were stored. As soon as they entered, she locked the door, fully aware that she had trapped herself with a large predator. The tiger carefully placed the cub on the floor and retreated to a corner, watching every movement of the human intently. While waiting for help, Anna examined the cub, which, despite its exotic and unfamiliar appearance, looked very fragile and defenseless. She didn't know what species it belonged to, but she was determined to save its life. The next few minutes were tense as Anna used her medical knowledge and available resources to help the cub and feed it. The tiger silently observed, its heavy breathing blending with the sound of rain hitting the roof. Meanwhile, outside the locked room, Carlos was assisting in the evacuation of medical staff and patients. He couldn't understand how a huge predator had ended up in their hospital, but was relieved that the animal hadn't harmed anyone. The night dragged on, and the tension in St. Luke's Hospital only increased. Anna constantly watched over the tiger and cub, who calmed down thanks to her presence and willingness to help. Severely emaciated and weakened, the tiger rested with half-closed eyes, watching every movement around it, as if fearing something, while the cub, wrapped in warm blankets, stopped trembling from the cold and finally fell asleep. Carlos, meanwhile, was talking to city officials, coordinating further actions. The police and animal control service had already entered the building, preparing for any developments. The tense moment was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Ricardo Menezes, a renowned big cat specialist who had been urgently called to resolve the unusual situation. The doctor cautiously peeked into the room with the tiger and, seeing that the predator was not aggressive, entered, trying not to make any sudden movements. Menezes examined the cub and confidently stated that it was not a tiger cub. He had a guess about the species of the cub, but it was too incredible to discuss at the moment. Anne explained to the doctor that the tiger showed no aggression and described her actions regarding the unexpectedly appeared animals. After listening to her, Menezes suggested that the tiger and cub had been illegally held in terrible conditions from which they had somehow managed to escape. This explained their sudden appearance in the city hospital. Meanwhile, news of the tiger and the mysterious cub in the hospital began to spread rapidly, attracting numerous passersby and reporters to the building. Menezes didn't want the public to witness what was happening inside, as this could alert the criminals who had kidnapped and mistreated the animals. So he waited for his colleagues to arrive to help transport the unfortunate creatures to a wildlife rehabilitation center for proper care and further study. The tiger was safely sedated for transportation, and the cub was placed in a special incubator. Fortunately, the transport went smoothly, and within a few hours, the tiger and cub were at the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. Upon arrival, they were met by a team of veterinarians. The tiger and cub were immediately placed in quarantine. Under Dr. Menezes' guidance, specialists planned the next steps for their recovery and study. Genetic tests showed that the cub might be a descendant of the Tasmanian tiger, thought to be extinct for over a century. Dr. Menezes oversaw the investigation, which aimed to uncover the truth about the tiger and cub's origin and their unexpected appearance in the hospital. Further, more in-depth analyses confirmed that the unusual cub could indeed be a Tasmanian tiger. However, the scientists were cautious with their conclusions, as this could become a real sensation in the scientific and animal world. The incredible discovery was temporarily kept secret from the public. Scientists immersed themselves in intense research, but each new analysis of the cub raised more questions. The team sought to understand the mysterious animal's origins and its inexplicable bond with the adult tiger. Soon, a large-scale investigation began. With police assistance, they found a small, recently abandoned farm not far from the city, from where the tiger had presumably escaped. All over the farm, police and scientists found numerous signs of illegal animal captivity, including cracked cages and chains with traces of animal activity. The investigation revealed that dozens of exotic animals had been kept on this farm until recently, where poachers and smugglers held them in terrible conditions before selling them worldwide for huge sums. It seemed the tiger had somehow escaped from its cage and fled the hellish farm carrying the little cub in its jaws. Thus, the two animals had ended up in the city hospital. Unfortunately, the criminals learned of the approaching police and managed to flee the farm with the rest of the animals. After the investigation was completed, Dr. Menezes and wildlife conservation specialists organized a large press conference to reveal the terrible truth to the world. Menezes presented the tiger that had escaped from poachers and described the horrific conditions in which it had been kept by illegal animal traders. Dr. Vargas, a genetic specialist, officially confirmed the high likelihood that the rescued cub could be a Tasmanian tiger previously thought extinct. Anna, who had been helping care for the animals all this time, also spoke about the importance of protecting all animal species from human threats. This discovery became a real sensation, and the scientists promised to do everything possible to preserve the rescued Tasmanian tiger. Following the sensational press conference, the whole world learned about the incredible discovery, drawing attention to the issue of illegal animal trade and the need for stricter protections. The investigation continued across multiple countries, and within a few months, police and wildlife defenders managed to find a massive complex where poachers kept hundreds of exotic animals for illegal sale worldwide. It appeared that the tiger and the Tasmanian tiger cub had also been brought from there, but fortunately, they had managed to escape. Thus, the mysterious appearance of a tiger with a cub in one of the city hospitals triggered a chain of events that led to the uncovering of horrific crimes related to the illegal captivity, smuggling, and sale of exotic animals. Several dozen criminals were imprisoned, and the remaining suspects were put on an international wanted list. Furthermore, an incredibly rare Tasmanian tiger was rescued, and now geneticists and animal protection specialists are working to preserve this amazing creature, hoping to one day return it to its natural habitat.